Amara La Negra is
I'm not
Dominican,
saying
actually.
Dominican. Okay, yeah, you have
Perfect
Dominican, you
example.
have Jamaican Chinese, you have all types of other stuff. You have Dutch, you have French, you have the
Exactly.
You have the British Virgin Islands, who are black people that speak French and Dutch, but they don't call themselves black, but they're
What
of
do you mean
dark
they don't
skin.
consider themselves black? What are you talking
Consider
about?
themselves Dutch or French. Are we
They
serious
do
right
not
now?
consider themselves Dutch. Or, first of all, Dutch and French are just citizenships, right? If they have a nationality, then that's fine. But they still do consider themselves
You
black. I'm
can't just go
confused.
over it and be like they have a nationality. That's fine. No, that's what they racially call themselves.
They don't call themselves
If they
racially
were born,
French.
if they were born and raised in a place and they get citizenship there, they call themselves that. Is that correct or incorrect?
That's what are you
Regardless of
talking
skin
about?
color. Regardless of skin color.
Wait,
Is that
yeah,
correct?
but that's the same way as you identify yourself as an American, right? I mean, people in America do that as well. Black Americans, when they go out, they identify themselves as American citizens because that's what they are. But when we're talking about race, they're black. The same thing with people in Latin America and in the Caribbean. They might identify with their national identity, yes, but they're racially black.
Black is not a race.
What do you mean black is not a race? What is it then?
What country does black come from?
What is blackness then if it's not a race? I'm
It's
confused.
it's a social group that white people created.
What do you think race is, Captain Obvious?
We see now you're trying. See, let me open your
What do you
brain.
think
I
race
got you. I
is,
got you.
Captain Obvious?
I got you. I got you. Race is where you were born and raised from in your culture and
No,
beauty.
it's not.
Yes,
That's
it
not what
is.
race is.
Yes,
Race
it
is a
is.
socially constructed group. What are you talking about?
I mean, yes, racial is a social constructed group, but it's also based off of where they're from. It's
Not
a social
always.
constructed. Yes,
Not
yes.
always. You're talking about
If you're
ethnicity because Melanesians are not even African, but they're racially black. Oh my
you're pulling
god.
up the like one few. Oh, these
It's
these
not
these
one
don't work.
few.
But like, yes, my nigga, yes,
It's not one
yes.
few at
Okay,
all.
so what is your ethnic background? If you can't say that you're black, what is your ethnic background?
I just said I was black. What are you talking about?
I'm saying, what if you cannot say that you're black? What
Why
is
wouldn't
your
I be able
ethnic
to say I'm
background?
not black?
Where are your people from? That's why I'm saying, where are you from? Where
I'm
is your grand?
Eritrean. My people originally am Eritrean, but I'm
That's
black.
your
I'm
ethnicity. That's not
no, but
black. That's your
Eritrean is
race.
not ethnicity. Eritrean is a national identity. And then within that national identity, there are 9 different ethnicities. Okay, so
Your
you're
ethnic group is what?
you're conflating race with ethnicity with national identity. That's what you're conflating. That's the issue that I have. Ethnicity is something different. Ethnicity talks more about like your geographic location, your cultural group, right? And then race is about how you present within society, the racial category that society places you in based on how that society classifies and categorizes your phenotypical characteristics. Nationality is, yeah, national identity. Like these are the different things that you're just conflating with one another. So a person like Amara La Negra, which I did not even know that she was Dominican. I always thought she was uh what's it called? I thought she was Colombian. But Amara La Negra, for example, she is nationally American. Her people come from the Dominican Republic, and she's racially black. Oh, maybe no. Celia Cruz is Cuban, isn't she? I thought Celia Cruz was Cuban, not Colombian.
Yeah. Either way,
Mm-hmm.
all that shit's still the same game. Now, I do respect that you did pull up a lot of research, but my nigga, it's still the same.
It's not the same.
Whatever social group or group of people that was like, hey, a duck's a duck. We're gonna call it a duck. It is what it is, gang.
It's
Ain't
cultural
shit.
erasure, what you're doing right now.
It's called what?
It's cultural erasure, what you're doing right now, because you're saying that, for example, if you are in a predominantly black country, how do you differentiate yourself amongst other black people? Are you just all just one monolith, black plop?
No,
For
because
example,
black
countries
is
in
not an
Africa.
ethnicity. Yeah,
I know, I know. I never said black. I never
differ
said black
based
was an
off of.
ethnicity. But I never said, well, black can be an ethnicity in the U.S. towards African Americans, but it's not an
That's
ethnicity
not
outside
only
of
an
it, right?
ethnicity in the U.S. because that is a
I never
social
said it's not
construction that white
only.
people made up. But
Oh my
again,
God.
for
I
the
never
part of
said it
your
was only
argument,
an ethnicity. It can be a
I got you,
race and an
sweetheart.
ethnicity.
I
Don't
got you.
call me
But
a sweetheart. What the
part of
hell?
your argument, for a part of your argument, yes,
Don't
in
call. Wait,
Africa
hold
they
on.
would.
Don't hold on. Clarification. Do not call me a sweetheart. You don't have the privilege to be calling me that. Understood?
Anyway, like I was saying, uh, for your argument in Africa, right? They would just say that they're from different countries, right? And from different cultural experiences. That's why they wouldn't say, "Oh, we're all black." They would be like, "Oh, I'm Tanzanian. Oh, I'm Nigerian. Oh, I'm Egyptian." Is that correct or incorrect?
If they're talking to other people, but if a Nigerian person is talking to
No,
Nigerians, then
no,
they would
no,
differentiate
no,
the.
no, no,
Hold
no.
on. Hold on. So they don't have to go around saying that they're black when they live in in a country that is predominantly that country, right? But then when they're amongst themselves, they differentiate themselves depending on region, depending on village. Like for example, a Nigerian person to an outside world would just say, "I'm Nigerian," right? But when they talk to other Nigerians, they would say if they're Igbo, if they're Hausa, if they're Fulani, if they're Yoruba, what region they're from, they would specify what village they're from, right?
Yes, you're correct on that. But
Okay.
again, for your argument, people in Africa wouldn't call themselves black though.
They don't have a need to because literally
Because
Africa is
they,
a
you know
predominantly
why they
black.
don't have a need to? Because they don't call themselves
No, no,
black.
no. Okay, I don't know
So
who the hell you need more sessions. Whoever your therapist is, you need a refund because clearly those anger management therapy sessions
you
are
and
not
me, we gonna
working.
both go together because nigga, there's no
Absolutely.
way.
Okay. Yeah. Whoever your therapist is, okay, you need to get literal, right? Your cash back. Because your anger management sessions did not work. I just wanted to say that. You were crashing out on my panel. Okay? But second of all, yeah. I don't even know what to say anymore. Crazy. If you disagree with the topic, then please do request. Hello, Peace Heart. If you disagree with the topic, then please do request, you know, anybody who disagrees with me, you guys can definitely request, have a conversation with me. I might also try to do a restart. I don't know why he was yelling. It's crazy. Crashing out for nothing. Hooting and hollering on my panel. It's insane. Blacks are brainwashed from birth to also try to do. You're not making any sense at all. He got upset when he couldn't overtalk. No, literally, that's the problem, right? People hear how I sound and they think, hello, Beacon, what do you mean by that?
I mean that there's people who run the media and they push a narrative for a reason.
So you think black people only listen to the media?
I think over period of time, yes, the media really affects culture and then how people think. And yeah.
What about the experiences of black people? Like, for example, I know black people experiencing racism when they're giving birth, black women.
What
Black
about the
people
experience of
experiencing police brutality when they're going on the street. Black people experiencing, I don't know, hearing the stories from their parents about colonialism or about slavery or their
that's just problems
grandparents or
that
whatever it is.
everyone go through. You think that no
No,
one has a perfect life?
no. It's not about perfect life. I'm talking about oppression. I'm not talking about
And you
some
think other races don't get oppressed?
white people don't get oppressed based on their race. No.
Yeah, that's how I know you're brainwashed.
Give me an example of how white people experience oppression based on race.
Off of race?
Yes.
Jobs?
How? Give me an example.
You can get in less jobs now even if you're
That's not true.
qualified.
Give me an actual
Oh,
example.
that's not true. So whatever I say is just not true because you're just the boss of everything.
Give
You know
me a
everything that is right.
source. Give me a source that
I mean, just
shows
look at
that
your
white
culture. Like, you
people
guys,
experience
black on black crimes is the worst. Even
white
now
on
you
white
gotta mute me.
crime is the
Even
worst. No,
black on
because
white is the
you
worst.
over talked me. You over talked
Just
me.
look at
You're
your
crashing
culture.
out.
You guys always like to blame other people, but don't look at your own culture.
Can we look at white culture and how you unalive
Yes, we
millions
made
upon
everything,
millions
the
of
world that
people?
you guys live in. Yes.
Wait, hold on.
Your phone
One
right now
second.
is built by a white person. The
Wait, hold
Wi-Fi,
on.
white person.
Genociding. That's not true. What are you talking about?
Genocide.
My
We didn't
phone,
genocide anything.
hold on. My phone was built by a Syrian man called Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was Syrian. I don't know if you knew that, Beacon. Steve
did you
Jobs was
know
actually
that-
Syrian, okay? Hold on.
Did you know that
Hold on. Steve Jobs, a Syrian man, used resources from Congo and other African countries to then have it assembled in China. You want to know why on the back of your phone it literally says designed in America but assembled in China? That's who you're saying the white man created. You're trying to claim that is white culture, by the way. White culture is trying to
Do you
claim
know whites are getting
the
genocide
cultural
in South
contribution.
Africa?
Wait, did you say white people are getting G-sided in South Africa?
You don't agree?
No. What? How are they getting G-sided in South Africa? Tell me.
Blacks are literally going to their houses and unaliving them and raping their childs and
Okay, how many have been unalived?
Many and many, many, many thousands.
How many?
Thousands.
Thousands.
They're literally, the whites had to go and move out of the countries, out of the cities to the countries. And then even then, they would still go there. And then they had to lock up their fences and everything because blacks hate whites because they're brainwashed too, like you are.
Hold on. So there are 50 annually. Hold on. So there are 50 general farm unalivings annually. Oh, he ran away. What the hell? Why did he run away? Why the hell did he run away? I want to know how 50 unalivings constitutes a G-side. Come back. Why did you run away from me? Help. Oh, looks like he doesn't like statistics. Yes, he said thousands and thousands when that's not even true. It says here that from 1990 until today, there have been 1,500 total farm attack deaths from 1990 up until today. And a majority of that were white people. And the reasons why they were white people is because they own a majority of the farms, because white people who make up about 7% of the population own 72 or 77% of agricultural land in South Africa. So, yeah, he was crying about it, saying 50 is a G-side is actually crazy. Anyways, anyone who's actually South African can tell you there is no white... No, literally, I know. There is no white TG side. That's the funny thing. Like, there is no white TG side in South Africa. That's the funny thing. It's crazy. Bro, you cry over like 1,000 deaths since 1990. Whereas literally just like a couple of years ago, in one single year, like thousands of like Eritreans were unalived, in boats in the Mediterranean Sea. Such a victim. I can't. Coco Vengeance, why do they want to start shit? No, for real. I don't understand. So anyways, if you want to request, you can definitely request. If you disagree with my background, you can also definitely request. If not, I might just do a restart as well, by the way. Maybe I should do that, because I've been live for like 47 minutes, and I don't have many people who are coming in. Please save us is funny. Can I ask a question from here? Sure, you can. Yes, he is ignorant, 100%. I might restart, actually, so that I can get at least ops to come in. Okay, I'm gonna do a restart, and I'll see y'all in 10. No, those are, there are some people who are from like Gaza who are trying to get gifts, and I don't have like gifters, that's why I'm not letting them up for now. I've been playing Celia Cruz. Exactly, Celia Cruz is amazing. Okay, I will restart.
I do feel bad about it now, but I mean, it was over.
Deeply embedded in whiteness to be racist. And therefore, when people are being conditioned into whiteness, they're also being conditioned to uphold racism.
So what you're saying that I can become black if I act like a black man, or I don't understand it.
What the fuck?
You just said
How
it.
did you get...
You just said it.
How did you get that from anything that I just said?
You just said that being white isn't biological, but it's like the
Being black
society
is
that
not
they're in.
biological either, but society determines what race you are. If you don't present as black, society's not going to claim you are black.
Okay, but what if I represent black, but I'm still white?
I don't care. What do you mean represent black? What is represent black?
You just said it. If you don't represent the race, then you're not it.
No, I never said that. I didn't
You
say that.
just said, bro.
No, I did not. I said society has to identify you as certain race. Society categorizes you as that. I never said it's just, I just feel like being white today. Let me go and just be white. What are you talking about? That was just, that had to be the most ignorant conclusion that you came from what I said. Brain worms, that's what it is. You have brain worms. And now you ran away. Great. You ran away because you realized, that you were dumb. Anyways, if you disagree with the topic, then you can request. I'm only letting ops up. That is how my live is run when I do debate lives, by the way. When I have the commentary lives, I will let everybody up. But when it comes to debate lives, I only let up people who are ops or who disagree with the topic. So if you disagree with the topic, then please do request. I let people speak. Oh, I don't. Sarah. Hi, Sarah. If you disagree with the topic, then please do request and have a conversation with me. But yeah, no, I feel like up until now, nobody has been able to actually bring a legitimate argument, in my opinion. Cody. Hi, Rahed.
Yeah.
Hello, do you disagree with the topic?
Yeah.
Okay, why? What's your argument?
I mean, being born as a white person, how does that make you racist?
Do you think I'm saying biological?
I mean, yeah, that's sorry by the way the prompt is set up. It kind of means or looks like that.
Do you think race is biological?
I mean, yeah, if both my parents are white, I'm probably going to be white.
No, it's not biological.
What do you mean?
Because you're talking about, I don't know, skin color. Like, I don't know if do blue-eyed people exist just because you inherit your eye color from your parents?
I mean, it can come from mutation, but mostly, yeah, blue eyes can come from your parents
Yeah,
too.
so are blue-eyed people a race now?
No.
Okay, cool. So then race is not biological, okay? There's a study that was done or conducted by the Human Genome Project that already determined that race was not a biological thing. Okay.
Okay. I'm confused. So, what is like white, black, Hispanic, like or Asian? White,
Hispanic
black,
is
Asian.
not a race.
Yeah. I meant white, black, Asian.
Okay, these are just racial and legal categorizations that were created in the starting in the 1400s, so during the European Age of Expansion. They're
Hmm.
just legal categorizations that determine power, your relation to other races, right? So whiteness exists as a relation to, let's say, blackness. Whiteness is going to be on top of the racial hierarchy. Blackness is going to be at the bottom of the racial hierarchy. Whiteness is everything that blackness isn't, and blackness is everything that whiteness isn't, right? So it's two sides of the same coin. And do you know why whiteness emerged? What was the purpose of it?
Can you explain it?
Yeah, so initially, the first time when race even emerged as we know it today, it was because Prince Harry of Portugal wanted to expand the empire, and therefore he commissioned a man by the name of Gomes Inns de Zurara. And he wrote a book called The Chronicles of the Discovery of Guinea. And within that book, he categorized African as a race and European as a race, and then determined that the European race was superior, was the norm, was the default, was on top of the hierarchy, and therefore it had the right to enslave and colonize African people, because he believed that only through enslavement would African people be civilized. Okay, so
Okay.
from the get-go, race was just arbitrarily created by Western Europeans to justify colonizing and enslaving people. Has never been about biology, has never been just simply about skin color or whatever it is, because prior to the 1400s, people like Alexander the Great, the Romans, the Greeks, they were not going around identifying themselves as white. They identified themselves through their empire, religion, ethnicity, but the idea that you categorize people of different nationalities, of different ethnicities, under one umbrella term, simply purely based on like their phenotypical characteristics, was something that was very foreign to the ancient world as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So the only purpose of it was to dominate. That was the only purpose of race.
Okay. Yeah. I get that. Wait. So, what does your prompt mean if you're white, like whitey white? What does that mean? Like, who is white if race is made up?
Yeah, so race is made up, but racism, unfortunately, as a system, is rooted in this made up bullshit concept. Okay, so there's no such thing as a biologically white person, black person, Asian person at all. And so when when people are born, they aren't really born white or black. They are instead conditioned into whiteness or blackness, because society deems you to be white or black, and then that determines your position. Does that make sense within society?
I mean, yeah, but like, so this has nothing to do about skin tone or skin color.
I don't care about skin tone.
Okay.
Koreans are white, right? But they're still
Yeah.
categorized as Asian. So it's not about
So
skin tone.
you're saying like white is in the category of like people who hold power and are rich
Race,
and stuff
yes,
like that.
race. I'm talking
Okay.
about race specifically. I'm not talking about your biology.
Okay.
Race is not
All right.
biological. Mm-hmm.
So if me, right, if my parents have money and I'm, above average whenever it comes to making money and stuff, that makes me inherently racist.
No, it's whiteness is not only about money, though. Whiteness is about the social currency that you get as well. Do you believe in white privilege?
I mean, I can't, it's like 50-50 for me, right? I'm not really I don't know. It's because there's white people who live in very bad places just like black or Hispanic people too. So it's
But they
50-50.
don't
But I
have the
do.
same experiences, though. That's the difference, right? So that's why I'm saying you're talking about class and classism, right? And I'm saying that even when we do compare a poor white person to a poor black person, that poor white person is not going to have, they might have barriers placed because of their class, but they don't experience those barriers based on their race. For example,
Mhm.
there was a study that was conducted that showed that black homeless people were more susceptible or subjected at a higher rate to police brutality than white homeless people. Now, these are two people or two groups of people who are very, very underprivileged when it comes to class, homeless people. And yet, even in that instance, the white person is less likely to be subjected to police brutality, whereas the black person is experiencing not only classism, but also racism. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so do you agree that like a single person can have privileges and advantages at the same time? So for example, let's say you might have the advantage of being white and then at the same time you have the disadvantage of living with a disability, for example. Or you might have the advantage of being white and able-bodied, but then you have the disadvantage of I don't know, being homeless or
Yeah.
being poor, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, and when it comes to racism, though, like white people don't experience that based on their rate. Wait, are you 16?
No.
Oh, okay. You're 8. You're over 18, right? Right. Wait, how old
Yes.
are you?
I'm 18. Exactly 18.
Okay, sorry, just saw the camera.
No, you're
Um.
good.
Mhm. So what I'm basically talking about is again, it has to do with racism specifically, and also the social currency that white people have. So it doesn't mean every white person is successful, every white person is rich, every white person is happy. What white privilege means is that white people are less likely to face certain harms because of their race, and they're more likely to receive the benefit of the doubt because of their race, and that is because their
Hmm.
race is less likely to be an obstacle.
Okay, so you're saying, yeah, like white privilege, stuff like that. I get that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but see, my problem with this prompt, the reason I disagree is because I can't get that can't get under my skin whenever it's talking about. I don't really think anyone is inherently racist. I think that is a trait that is picked up because like I know people who have family members that are racist, right? But they are personally not racist whatsoever. I really think it's a trait that's picked up whenever you go to certain areas where people act that way in large and people want to fit in or be like that and then they live in that area for so long as they become racist. I don't think anyone is born racist though.
So I never said, yeah. So this is where I disagree with you. Racism is not a trait, it's an action that people can participate in passively or actively, right? So,
Okay.
for example, there were studies that showed a majority of first and second year white medical students and also residents believed certain misconceptions about Black people, where when it comes to Black people having a higher pain tolerance, or skin being thicker, or blood coagulating differently, all that stuff, right? These are misconceptions,
Yeah.
they're not true. So, do you think that a person, if they operate through that prism where they think that a Black person has a higher pain tolerance, do you think they could potentially cause harm to the Black patient?
I mean, like what you're saying, like if they think the black person has a lower pain tolerance, you think that they
Higher
could
pain
cause
tolerance, yeah.
a higher pain tolerance, you think that they could cause them more pain. I mean, yeah, if they have a higher pain tolerance, yeah, they're going to cause more pain. Obviously, like it's going to do them more pain. They're going to feel worse.
They could cause harm, right? They could maybe think that the Black patient doesn't really need as much anesthesia or doesn't need as much pain medication. Like they wouldn't prescribe maybe that much pain medication, right? Or they might not be as careful with the person, right? And it would be delusional to think that now a majority of white medical students are somehow triple K members. They don't. They don't have to actively do that in order to cause harm to people, right? But they still are causing harm, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, they are. Like when we look at, for example, black newborns are 3 times more likely to die during childbirth than white newborns. And when a black doctor takes over, the mortality rate decreases by like 32 to 59%. When it comes to black women are up to 4 to 5 times more likely to die during childbirth as well than white women. And this is even
Yeah,
rich black women, by the way, right?
yeah.
So
Wait, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry before we continue. I'm not saying you're wrong. Can I get a source for that?
yeah, hold on. Do you want a source for the mortality rate or for
Yeah, with the
infants?
comparing black and white.
Hold on. So this is for what's it called? So hold on. I have it here. Mhm. Okay, here it is. So, so these are two different things. Hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to get you the source right now so I can put
No,
it
you're
on.
good. Don't worry about it. Take your time.
Okay. So this is from Harvard. It says here, put simply, black babies were less likely to die if they had black doctors, even after accounting for many other factors. If one were to shift 1,000 black newborns from white doctors to black doctors, about one baby would be expected to live who otherwise would have passed away. And it says here, this is further research to determine why black physicians systemically outperform their colleagues when caring for black newborns. And called the findings an important call to continue the diversification of the medical workforce. This is another one. It's published in PNAS. It's called Physician-Patient Racial Concordance and Disparities in Birthing Mortality for Newborns. And here it says, a large body of work highlights disparities in survival rates across black and white newborns during childbirth. We posit that these differences may be ameliorated by racial concordance between the physician and newborn patients. Findings suggest that when black newborns are cared for by black physicians, the mortality penalty they suffer as compared with white infants is halved.
Okay.
Striking, yeah. So, by the way, the same study here, when they checked for the mortality rate of the white newborn, that doesn't change at all. So the white newborn's mortality rate does not change depending on the race of the doctor. So regardless of if it's a white doctor, if it's a black doctor, the mortality rate stays the same. And then it says here, in the United States, black newborns die at 3 times the rate of white newborns. And this result came after they examined 1.8 million hospital births, right? The last one is the U.S., this is published in the National Library of Medicine, U.S. maternal mortality rate within a global context, historical trends, current state, and future directions. And if we go to hold on. So it says here, hold on, where was that part? Give me a second. Here. It says here, Black women at all levels of income and education. Kira, they mention racism as well, by the way, in the study. But anyways, I digress. Black women at all levels of income and education have a higher maternal death risk than non-Hispanic white women. And then, hold on. There were the factors that they took into account. I just want to show you. So they controlled for race, ethnicity, age, education level, marital status, health insurance, geographic areas, rural versus urban, and states. And they found that regardless of all of these factors, that Black women consistently at every single level had a higher maternal mortality rate than white women, including rich Black women too. By the way, do you think Beyonce is a privileged woman when it comes to class?
I mean, yeah, she is very rich. She has lots of money, but I'm sure she had a upbringing from where she originally was.
So she's hella privileged, right? But did you know that when she was giving birth to her children, that she almost died?
Yeah, I mean, my mom almost died when she was giving birth, though. I mean, it's a lot can happen, you know.
No, but it's more common in Black women.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Why is that? Are you saying that the doctors that are doing this, white doctors, are racist?
no, I think like it's deeply conditioned within the medical system to just have a general. There are a lot of misconceptions about Black people in general. So, for example, when it comes to Beyonce, right? Her complications had to do with the fact that she had high blood pressure, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So she had very, very serious pregnancy complications. It's called preeclampsia, which is basically when you have incredibly high blood pressure that can actively threaten like the life of the mother and also the babies. And when she did develop extremely high blood pressure and swelling as well, she did try to actively tell the doctor what she was feeling, her symptoms, basically. And usually when a person does have preeclampsia, you're not supposed to do a C-section on them. Exactly. So the doctors actively not only ignored what she said she was experiencing, what she said she felt in her body, but they also decided to perform an early C-section on her. And that's why she almost then died, because the doctor basically misdiagnosed or did not necessarily diagnose her medical condition, preeclampsia, which unfortunately that fits into a pattern of how the medical system in general does treat Black women, in that it does not take their symptoms serious. It doesn't take what they have to say serious. You have medical books that actively still teach that Black people have a higher pain tolerance. So that is one example where Black women and then their children are also neglected during birth.
Birth, right? Okay. And are you saying this is all medical centers in the U.S., like all large medical centers, like it's deeply rooted to that?
Yes, the Association of American Medical Colleges, by the way, already suggested that. To the person saying the studies are very old, the studies I showed are not very old. Some of them are from 2021. That's not old. 2021 is not old. There are also recent studies as well. Those are not old studies. But yes, the American Association of Medical Colleges already talked about it being a deeply rooted issue, and how medicine needs to do much better in addressing and assessing Black pain.
Okay. But my question is how does that medical, center, deeply rooted, obviously, in the back ends of the U.S. from a long time ago, that is, causing damage now, how does that connect to white people being inherently racist? I just am
Because
confused.
white people created that system. So white people created that system. And the reason as to why white people still continue benefiting off of white privilege is because that system continues disenfranchising other communities of people. Because when you are actively not bothering to listen to and take serious the symptoms or the value the lives of Black patients, you're devaluing Blackness. And this is only one instance, by the way. I can give you within schooling, within housing, within the general discourse, within the political discourse, how Black life ultimately gets valued in order for this system to continue being upheld. And the only reason why white people in general benefit from that social currency is because other people are being disenfranchised.
Yeah. I mean, you said white people made it, but in that time that they made it, such a long time ago, don't you think it was more normalized for white people to be racist at that time? No, obviously racism is terrible, it's wrong, but the time that you're talking about would have been the early days of the US, correct?
No, but that doesn't matter though. I think what matters is the fact that modern medicine as we know it today developed inside these racial hierarchies. When we look at, for example, the father of gynecology, J. Marion Sims, he developed gynecology by experimenting on enslaved women. And he didn't even use anesthesia because he believed that enslaved Black women didn't need it because they didn't feel pain. Right. So this is a fundamental, like the whole field of gynecology, because we're talking about childbirth, right? Let's talk about gynecology. The whole field of gynecology was birthed through the idea that Black women didn't feel pain. Right. So the whole modern medicine as we know it today is developed inside this racial hierarchies. And unfortunately, it continues to reproduce these racial hierarchies through institutions, through knowledge, through practice. And that is precisely how white supremacy as a system is then being upheld. Because it continues reproducing these hierarchies, because historically, for example, Black people were used for experimentation without consent. That is how a lot of aspects of modern medicine was developed. Pain in Black bodies was minimized or denied. White bodies were treated as a biological norm. Right? And because those assumptions were not fully dismantled, they instead were absorbed into medical education, into diagnostic standards, into research priorities, into clinical quote unquote common sense. So they continue being reproduced.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Seems horrible, that's not a good thing. Uh, but again, I think I've been reading the chat a lot too. I think, overall, like this whole topic was kind of confusing to a lot of people because you stumble upon this. Like it seems like you're calling the white race, as you say, um, as a whole of racist, which can confuse a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
How do you uphold whiteness without racism?
What do you mean? Like
Like
white?
how do
No,
you
obviously
uphold
not the race.
whiteness in society without racism?
What do you mean uphold it? Like what? Keep it above everything
How
else?
does it continue existing without racism?
It shouldn't. It should be the same, equal to everyone else.
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking how can whiteness continue existing without racism?
Uh, you're not talking about the race, correct? Like the skin color, obviously. So
I'm
you're
talking about
the
the race
power.
is not
Yeah.
biological. Again, as I just mentioned, race is not, and it's not only about skin color, right? Because I can find you a Sicilian person who is darker probably than Zendaya.
Yes, I'm Sicilian.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Then I can find a Sicilian person who's darker than Zendaya, and yet they would be categorized as white and she would be categorized as Black, right? So my question again, So my question again is, how do you uphold whiteness without racism?
You'd have to get rid of the privilege part, obviously.
You'd have to get rid of whiteness. You'd have to get rid of race. Because again, race only exists through racism. These are
Yeah.
not, like they're not separable at all, right? So as long as you have whiteness, which again, whiteness is not skin color, it's not a personal identity, it is a position of structural advantage, right? And whiteness only exists and benefits because other people are being disenfranchised. So the privilege part, you can't separate it. It's an automatic addition to whiteness.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's human, race shouldn't define you, right? So I can see what you're saying there. I agree with that. So yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah. And like the thing is,
I can
this is,
agree.
yeah, and the society that we live in, right? In order to uphold whiteness, you have to accept like the fact that whiteness is the default norm, that it's the standard of competence, neutrality, credibility, that it's the baseline against which others are being judged, right? It's kind of like this structural advantage that's on top of the hierarchy. And if people continue upholding whiteness, you can't do that without upholding racism. So
Yeah, I mean,
until we reach a point where race ceases to exist and white people stop being white, I'm not calling for genocide, by the way. I'm not saying that white people need to be unalived. I'm saying the idea that they're white needs to cease to exist. Whiteness needs to cease to exist. Until we reach that point in time, racism will never disappear.
okay. Yeah, for everyone in the live, for what I was confused about, for everyone in the live that is also confused, white, when she says white, she's not talking about your skin tone, not talking about your race. Obviously, she's talking about the privilege that a lot of people believe.
So I am talking about race, just not skin tone. Because I don't believe race is not biological. Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't believe that race is biological, meaning not your skin tone. So, right, if you have a white skin tone, she's not calling you inherently racist. Like she's not calling the fetus of a white person racist or a white person born racist, but she's talking about the the privilege and the race that comes behind, the meaning of race, which I agree. No, I think people are people. Like at the end of the day, we're all human, and there shouldn't be things that separate us like that. Um, Again, so I mean,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see by why. But hold on, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by? Can you like define inherently? Like, what do you mean by inherently?
Habit, like an essential part of it. It's a habit. It's deeply embedded. It's deeply embedded in whiteness. Like the foundation of whiteness is racism. So in order to uphold whiteness, you have to uphold racism, right? Because the only reason that white people are able to be on top of the hierarchy and receive these privileges and don't have these barriers and benefit off of the social currency is because this hierarchy exists and other people are being disenfranchised. And what I'm trying to say is you cannot have whiteness without hierarchy. You need to stop making it personal. Yeah, like I don't know you, Cody, so I'm not talking to you personally. I'm talking about the concept of whiteness. So I don't need people in the chat to say, but I'm not racist. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the concept of whiteness. When you're being conditioned into whiteness, right? You're being conditioned to uphold this system, to internalize these racialized stereotypes and implicit biases, and also to benefit off of it, to have the privilege.
Right. Sorry. Dude, also the people in chat who are being racist,
Just
like openly racist.
ignore the
Yeah.
people in the chat. It's okay.
Nah, yeah, no, I was just saying like they're not really helping. No, yeah, no, race, seeing that if race, right, separates people and it can, like, in big issues, that's definitely got to be worked on. But Right, like I do agree, like that's got to be worked on whenever it comes to separating people. But see, I really struggle with the inherently racist part. Like that just really like bothers me. You know what I'm saying?
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever been to an airport?
Yes, I have.
You know, like those like really fun moving walkways at the airport?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you usually like walk on them, or do you just like pause on them? Like, do you just like
Are you
stand
talking?
still with your like luggage, or do you just like to walk while they're moving?
I'm so sorry. Wait, my headphones cut out. Are you talking about like Are you talking about the like the things that move you when you don't have to
Yeah,
walk, or?
exactly. I'm not talking about the escalator. I'm talking about the moving walkway. There's always like usually a moving walkway at like an airport, right?
Yeah, that
And
you
like
stand on before you get checked in. Yeah,
yeah,
like I'm
so
talking about like go to security and stuff. Yeah.
travelators, walkways, right? Like but the thing is, even if you like stand still and you're not moving, like even if you stand still and you're like looking at your phone, you still move forward, right? It
Yeah.
basically brings you from A to B. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's white privilege. That's whiteness, right? When
Hmm.
like white people are placed in this earth, right? You you don't have to actively do anything. You don't have to actively move or walk towards a direction. Even if you're
Yeah.
not intending to do so, you're still going from A to B. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to debate with me on the white privilege. Like I told you, it's like 50-50 for me. Like, and I understand like the whole thing we already talked about class, but I really think it can go both ways whenever it comes to police brutality. Like if
It
you're
doesn't
living
go
in a,
both ways though. Statistically, black people are still more likely to 3.23 or 3.5 times more likely to be unalived by the police. It does not go both ways,
but
right?
is that universal or just
Yes. Yes.
USA? Like,
Yeah. So even the maternal mortality rate, by the way, that I talked about, this is something that happens in the UK to the point where the British
hmm.
Parliament had to recognize it. When we go to, let's say, a country like Brazil, every 23 minutes, a black Brazilian youth is unalived, right? So, like,
Right.
I can show you every single continent where black people are actively being subjected to systemic racism, right? This is something that has also been acknowledged by the United Nations, by the way. So
Right.
this isn't like me talking off of feelings. This is just like this is a fact.
Okay. So I want to ask if this is, universal too. So what does it take with like, Asian or also, Middle Eastern Asian people who are, highly racist as well to black people, but they are also underprivileged? What does that go?
So again, black people are still at the bottom of the racial hierarchy, and usually when people, for example, if you go to, let's say, South Korea, I've been to South Korea, right? I've been to Seoul. There are
Hmm.
these academies called hagwons. Now, these academies are more private academies. They're for tutorship, basically. They tutor students after high school, not high school, after their like daily, like basically on a regular basis. The students, after they're done with school, they have to go to these academies to get tutored, right? So these
Hmm.
academies, they also teach kids English, right? And when they hire English teachers, they're less likely to hire black teachers, black American teachers, and also black European teachers. The reason that's why they do that is because they don't think that black people are as qualified or qualified enough to teach English. So they're less likely
Yeah.
to do that. Who they're more likely to hire are white people. It's fascinating because they automatically think that white people are educated, are qualified enough to be teaching English. And
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I know. Like, racism runs deeply in Asia, and it runs in the Middle Eastern too. But
yeah,
my
but even
question
in those
was like,
cases, white people are glorified. Like, even in those
no, no,
cases,
no.
like,
I
even,
know, no, no.
yeah, so even
What?
in those cases, the function of racism doesn't change, right? In those cases, as I mentioned in the beginning, the function of racism has always been to uphold white superiority and black inferiority, right? So everybody else who is not white or black is going to be in the middle of that hierarchy. And if you're in closer proximity to whiteness, you're going to get advantage, like colorism, for example. Light-skinned people get that advantage because they're in closer proximity to whiteness. And if you are in closer proximity to blackness, you get more disadvantaged, right? So even in that case, in the case of like Asian, right, actively, when they are reproducing this, they do still uphold a glorification of whiteness, if that makes
Right.
sense.
So what about like Philippines? You go to the Philippines, but they're also inherently racist. They're darker.
Oh yeah, they're
So,
anti-black, 100%.
but what would that mean? That they are inherently racist as well. Would that mean get rid of
It
Asian?
doesn't benefit
Like,
them though. It doesn't benefit them because the Philippines themselves are subjected to this at the hands of like East Asians, because East Asians literally look down upon South Asians, right? And the reasons why they look down upon them is because they're darker. It's a funny thing, right? But then Filipinos are going to look down on maybe people who are black because, again, black people, black skin has been stigmatized on a global scale. Who do you think stigmatized that black skin? On a global scale, who do you think decided to spread literature, use their monopoly on media to spread the stereotypes about black people? Go around demonizing and stigmatizing black skin, that a black person, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their class, regardless of their nationality, regardless of their religion, are still subjected to these same stereotypes. That's what you have to ask yourself.
let me move it down one more. So even what about Egyptian, which I'm talking about like black Afro-Egyptian, you know what I'm saying?
But Egyptians are
Like,
not all black, though. A majority of Egyptians
no,
are
I
not.
know. I know that Egyptians a lot, runs middle, there's also Middle Eastern culture that influences in Egypt, but um I'm talking about like the black Egyptians who
That's
are
anti-blackness.
also
Yeah, anti-blackness. We all have anti-blackness. I have internalized anti-blackness that I'm deconstructing, and I'm a black woman. Of course, all black people are anti-black. And the question here is, Cody, if all black people, I can confidently say this, if all black people have internalized anti-blackness, why do you think non-black people are safe from that anti-blackness?
uh,
If me as a black woman who has two black parents, and I'm sitting here and I have to deal with texturism, featureism, colorism, the internalized anti-blackness that I have, and I have to deconstruct it, even though I am a black woman with two black parents who experiences racism. What makes you think as a white person who benefits off of racism, you haven't internalized it?
and you're not talking about me, correct?
What do you mean?
When you just said what makes you think as a white person, like you're not saying me, right? You're just saying in general.
Yeah, white people. Yes, white people. White people in general. What makes you think? What makes you think that white people, like whiteness, like again, black people have. Okay, I'll give you another example. Have you? I know you're 18. Oh, actually, should I ask you this?
Well, just ask me. I don't really care.
Okay, let's say we all know people start drinking by prior to them being 21, but even
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Have you ever made sangria?
I'm not sure. Probably, maybe.
Okay, so sangria wine,
Oh, no, actually, I don't really drink one. No.
okay, so it's like you have like sangria, and then you put fruits in it, pineapple, apple, or not, like berries, all that stuff, and you let them marinate overnight.
hmm
Now the question is, what do you think happens to the fruit?
It's sat in liquid overnight. Disintegrated into the liquid.
Not necessarily disintegrated, but what happens to the color of, like, let's say pineapple if you just let it marinate in wine?
It'll probably change color
Change color. Okay. Why do you think it changes color?
because it sits in that wine.
Okay. You're the fruit in this equation.
Okay.
And you live within a racist society. It's impossible for you not to absorb that. Because that's what everybody is being conditioned to. Everybody is being conditioned to uphold these beliefs, to internalize these beliefs.
Okay, wait. So let me give you kind of a thing here, like you did, like a, what is that called? A scenario, right?
Analogy.
Yeah, it's kind of in the same thing. So say you were a white kid, right? Okay, and you were raised in a city, and you were not, or a Hispanic. We'll do Hispanic and you are not racist,
Hispanics not a race,
right?
though.
Yes, I know. I'm
Mm-hmm.
non-Hispanic, or yeah, we'll do non-Hispanic black, right? And you go to a school that is predominantly white, which is racist. Do you think that that person will pick up on the race to try to fit in as a black person, or do you think that they will feel like
I just told you
more?
they would internalize that anti-blackness, but it would be to their detriment. They don't benefit off of it. Black people do not benefit off of racism, because
Okay, so
racism is fundamentally your own dehumanization, whereas a white person does not get dehumanized by racism. You benefit off of it as a white person because you're at the top of the racial hierarchy. It's like when women have internalized misogyny and they become pick-me's and they go to the Andrew Tates and the Sneakos and they go, oh my God, we love you. We agree with what you're saying. They can say these things because they have internalized misogyny, but ultimately they get dehumanized by their rhetoric. Whereas if a man says it, that's very different because a man does not get dehumanized by said rhetoric.
okay.
That's the difference. When it comes to racism, though, yes, I told you, black people do have internalized anti-blackness. But number one, black people do not have the collective power to be racist and cause harm to communities. And number two, based on race, especially on white people. And number two, that internalized anti-blackness is to their own detriment and not to the detriment of other races of people.
Okay. So my question is also, does that mean, if by what you're saying, if Asians are higher, on the hierarchy than black people, does that mean, black people, what happens when a black person's racist to an Asian person? Does
It's
that
not
not work?
racism, it's xenophobia. So it's called xenophobia, specifically, not xenophobia. There's a term for that.
Wait, I'm
Which
sorry.
is
How is that not racist?
because they're not impacting their material conditions. Again, racism is about oppression. Oppression does not happen on an individual basis. It happens, again, let's see. I'll read out the definition of racism, right? So this is a good, Seattle.gov has released a pamphlet called 4 Types of Racism, which it explains in great detail what are the 4 types of racism, right? Between internalized, institutional, interpersonal, and structural. So it talks about racism in general. Racism is a form of oppression that is based on race. Unlike discrimination, oppression takes into account power, who is positioned to hold power and who is positioned not to hold power, as a result of the way society has been set up and functioned for generations. There is no system that black people have created to oppress other races of people. Not one single one. Not one single one. Black people have not created a system to oppress Asians. They have not created a system to oppress white people. They have not created a system to oppress Arabs or whatever. There's not a single one. But white people have created systems to oppress black people, and not only to oppress them under themselves, they also utilize other communities of people to continue the oppression of black people.
Wait,
That is what racism is.
Can you read me the definition of oppression real quick? Because I'm about to say something, but I want to make sure I'm correct.
Prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or exercise of authority.
Okay, What's that country in Africa where the president recently just said that he wants people to openly kill white or other races that enter the country?
Who said
That
that?
happened. There was, let me look it up real quick. Give me one moment.
Africa's the worst choice, by the way.
Okay, yeah, this it happened a few months ago. It was a South African president that claimed he wanted all white people
Are you talking about
and
kill the
other
boar?
races dead. I'm not fully sure. Maybe.
Yeah, that's not. You're
No,
talking about. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know
You're
if that's the same
talking.
guy.
No, you. I am. You are talking about the same guy. What's his name again? He's not a president, by the way. He's just a
Or it was a
politician.
politician. Yeah.
So yeah. No. It's misrepresented. Do you know where that slogan originated from?
Wait. No. It's not. It's not him. It's I found it. Hold. It's President Ramaphosa, whatever his
And
name.
what did he
I can't
say?
really say it. He said genocide for white people.
I don't think he said that.
There's a video of it online. You can
No,
watch
I
it. I
don't think he
saw
said
it.
that. What does the video say? Where can I find it?
Go on Google.
Yeah, what do I
Pops
write?
up. Uh, to
If you're
go
off
on.
the app, by
It's
the
gonna be
way,
me.
I
I'm on a.
can't hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Let me check real
Yeah, Ramaphosa never said on a live all white people, by the way. why do white people only bring up reverse racism when it's a response to black people speaking up about their experiences? Why don't I see white people hosting talk shows about it, TED
No.
Talk
I get what
shows,
you're saying. Yeah,
writing books
racism.
about it, podcasts about it, going around screaming for justice, saying that they're being racially oppressed? I don't see that. I only see them bringing up racism when it comes to somehow minimizing, downplaying what black people experience.
No, yeah, no. I get racism is wrong. I am not pro
I'm not saying racism is wrong.
any
I'm
sort of.
saying, no, but you're not addressing what I'm
Well,
saying. No, I'm saying is,
racism. Yeah, no. I'm saying racism is wrong. Like, it is very wrong. I'm not pro racist, pro nothing. No, absolutely not. But I was saying at the end of the day, if you are bullying or putting somebody down just for their skin color, that is inherently wrong.
that is,
Like that
I'm,
is
again, I'm not condoning targeting a person. I'm just telling you it is not racism, because racism is about oppression. Racism is about policies, practices, procedures, norms, cultural norms of like institutions or systems that work better for white people and cause harm, direct and indirect harm to black people or indigenous people or people of color. That is what racism is. It's not about a simple person just bullying you or telling you I don't like you or telling you, oh, you don't season your food. That's not what racism is.
well, yeah, right. But no, yeah, and I get the whole thing with the reverse racism, like, and them not going out and talking about it. Like, yeah, I don't think white people being racist towards black people is a good thing at all. But, it's also not good for you attacking somebody for their culture
I
or
never said it
skin
was
tone.
good
Like,
though. I'm
no, I
confused.
know you didn't. I know you
Okay.
didn't. But what I'm reading also, and I know you said ignore the chat, is, and I'm speaking openly out loud, is some of these people believe like they can do that, even though not everyone is that way. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if one white person goes out and is racist, don't target the whole race. It's not the whole race. It is
No,
that
but
one
the
person
thing
or
is,
a
you see
group
how
of
I'm not
people.
paying. I've been literally called an N-word in this chat multiple times by different
No,
people,
I
and I'm
believe
not
you.
paying it.
People
No,
act
but yeah, but my point
different.
is, I'm not paying attention to it. Is my point, right? Because I'm not paying attention to the fact that there have been literal neo-Nazis in this chat who have been outwardly racist, but I'm not paying attention to them. That's why I'm saying pay attention to the conversation that that we're having, right?
No, all right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
So when we're having this
I believe your
conversation,
whole thing about like white privilege. Yeah, like nobody should have privilege over others. That is bad, but I just don't think people are inherently racist,
the
you
the
know?
system, the whiteness is inherently racist. Whiteness, you cannot uphold whiteness without racism. Like I would highly implore you. Harvard has an amazing article on this called "The Sociological Definition of Racism." It kind of gives you an understanding of what racism is, and that's something that I want you to fully understand, because a lot of times, unfortunately, people engage in these conversations without even understanding what racism is. They don't understand how it functions, they don't understand where it came from, they don't understand how it manifests itself and how it impacts people. They just think that racism is just hatred or just bullying, when that's not the case, right? So
Mhm.
what I would highly implore you is, if you actually want to learn about this, because indifference, by the way, also upholds systemic racism, because you just being as I told you before, remember when I told you the moving walkway, you could just chill and not move and just look at your
Yeah.
phone and you would still move, right? So to you as a white person, even if you're indifferent, the system would still continue to function on your behalf. It doesn't disrupt the system unless you're being actively anti-racist. Which a first point of being actively anti-racist is acknowledging the issue, educating yourself on the issue, and trying to do something about it.
Right.
Right? Because if people just don't do anything about it, the system continues to operate and function, and black people continue to die.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. But if you want like a first step, I'd highly recommend reading The Sociological Definition of Racism. It's a good read. helps you understand what racism is as well. But I'm gonna go to the next person. Thank you for coming up. Appreciate you, Cody.
Of course, you too. You have a great day.
Have a great day. Okay, who do I go to? If you disagree with the prompt, then to request. Sorry, I thought it was a sociological definition. It's not. It's called race, racism, and discrimination. Oh, no. Not that one. Hold on. Where is that one? Oh, the sociology of racism. Sorry. That's what you guys should read. The sociology of racism. Okay, let's go to the next guests. Why did that person... I'm trying to let some guests in, y'all. Oh my god, we're only at 26,000 people. Like the live. Get it up to 50k likes. So I can push it onto the algorithm, by the way. Yeah, because people just don't understand racism, right? They just read like a simple dictionary definition, which, I don't know, was introduced into the Merriam-Webster definition by Rose McEgan, by the way. And the first time when she was introducing that dictionary definition, she literally just meant European fascism. That's what racism meant, by the way. Just European fascism, according to her. Right? So she wouldn't even... Let's go to the next guest. Hello, Eris. How old are you?
Yes, I'm 18 years old.
Okay. What do you disagree with?
What?
What do you disagree with?
What cigarette, bro?
Okay. Let's go to the next guest. Trying to load people in. Kim, how come you're not mod? Is this another account? Hold on, let me make you mod. I don't know why you're not mod. Is this another account? Is that why? I'm pretty sure I had you as mod. The hell? Ah, yes, it is. It's another account. Okay, let me... Oh, my main is banned. Okay, let me make you mod here then. Okay. Say in the request, by the way, I'm gonna let y'all up one by one. I don't know why it's not loading in. I'm trying to let people in, but for some reason, hey, it's not letting people in. Hold on. Okay, why isn't it loading anybody in? Is my TikTok glitching? I'm just trying to load in like 5 different people. What the hell? Okay, let's go. Yeah, maybe I might need to restart because it's not loading anybody in. 6 people. Oh, I might need to update my app. That's true. I haven't updated it, I think. Hello, Woomy Noomy. How old are you?
18.
Okay. What's your argument? What do you disagree with?
I feel like I was here when you were talking about your analogy with like the leaving the fruit in the wine, and just like the aspect that like white people are kind of like born into this place where they're being told that like they, are not being told. Sorry, they're basically like born to a system that like supports them and puts down everyone else, and that's true. I believe that. But like, I'm just gonna use an analogy of like religion. As a kid, I grew up going to Christian school, and my parents were, or my mom's side of the family is very religious. But I didn't end up being religious myself. And I feel like it's kind of important to like point out the fact that just because you're being told something and you're being put in an environment where you're being told something, that doesn't necessarily mean that you will always go in that direction. I think it comes to a point where there are some people that sit and decide whether or not they want to think for themselves. And when you are a white person and you are putting down other races or you're upholding the system that the government had created, that means that you didn't think for yourself and you just kind of went one way. But there are some white people who stop for a moment and considered that, hey, maybe this isn't right and maybe I should go against this, and then they did.
Okay, so I'll tell you. So, in a way, you can compare racial indoctrination into religious indoctrination, right? Like people can be exposed to it early on. It can be normalized within like society, and there's moral framing, all that stuff, right? But when it comes to the difference here, you can voluntarily leave religion and you will still keep your material position within society, whereas you cannot leave whiteness, right? You can never leave whiteness. And whiteness is structural, whereas your choice of religion is going to be voluntary. And that's the main difference. So you will still be on top of that racial hierarchy. You will still benefit off of the direct disenfranchisement of other groups of people, regardless of what you do. And like a white person is still going to benefit from whiteness. And the problem is that whiteness can only be maintained through racism, right? So religion, that's the difference, right? And when it comes to whiteness, even if it's a secular state, whiteness is still going to be embedded in the law. It's going to be embedded in policing, in borders, in property, in citizenship, in violence. So that's the only difference, right? That when it comes to religious indoctrination, it's going to shape like your conscience, it's going to shape your decision making, all these different things. Whereas when it comes to racial indoctrination, it actively shapes who lives, who dies, who's protected. So that makes it a very, very categorical difference. So a white person, yes, a Christian could relieve Christianity and choose to be an atheist or agnostic or whatever it is. But a white person will always be white.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing is just whenever this conversation appears, I always think back to like in my history class when I learned that one of like the biggest like things that started racism, I guess, or like one of the biggest contributing factors was how the upper class kind of used it to stop class consciousness and basically turn people in just like against each other. So I feel our government is kind of like inherently racist because of like that system. The government wasn't entirely white, racist, rich people, and it was a lot more inclusionary of different races and ethnicities and like all these things. And I guess where was I going with this? Sorry, I'm like super anxious. I had a coffee this morning. I guess what I'm saying.
Okay, they went on teacup. So yeah, I just wanted to say that like class does not save Black people from racism. Just wanted to say that the idea that class consciousness is required of Black people, whereas anti-racism isn't necessarily required, it kind of, it doesn't help at all, because the Black people are still going to experience that racism, and they're not going to be saved. Kathy. sounding really fragile in the chat right now. Can we not? I'm so sorry. That was actually funny. Okay, let's go to Dallas Payday.
Hello.
Yes. Hello, Dallas. What'd you
Hello.
say?
How was your day today?
That's good. Good. You?
Yeah, it's a long day, but I just saw this and I wanted to talk about it since I kind of want to unpack this because it's sort of it can be an interesting thing to talk about, a little food for thought. So I'm gonna, if it's okay, I'd like to let you start and sort of just unpack your claim a bit, and then I'll disinfect it, sort of, pick it apart piece by piece, sort of like that's like how I like to go through things.
Yeah, okay. So, the reason as to why I say that white people are inherently racist is because whiteness within itself is an inherently racist concept. And white people, when they're being conditioned into whiteness, they're also actively being conditioned into upholding whiteness, which is again upholding racism. And the reason for that is because white people, one, are born into a society that actively caters to them, centers them, views them as the norm. Number two, they are then conditioned to internalize, a lot of racial stereotypes about different groups of people. And number three, they also get privilege. And that privilege is directly tied to or exists in tandem with the disenfranchisement of other communities of people.
I see. And that's your statement there. Okay. I'm going to slowly unpack this bit by bit. I'm going to give some context first, just so you have like for the bigger picture. So I have a Polish background, so I'm Eastern European, Slavic roots, that sort of stuff. So I'm not the typical, I'm assuming you're from the US?
No, I'm European.
Okay. Well, in that case, I come from an Eastern European background, Polish. I have Polish like citizenship and all of that stuff, and I reside in the UK. But like legally speaking, I am technically like an Eastern European immigrant. So I wanted to ask, first of all, I just want to say that in my sort of belief, I think race is a social construct. There's sort of ideas of like whiteness, whatever. I don't think there's what's it called? There's a unified like white race, black race, whatever. I think that it's all just different ethnic groups. You got the Slavs, the Scandinavians, which would be Germanics. You have the Romance or Latins come from Rome, and then you have Greek and that sort of stuff, Celts, and vice versa. So I wanted to sorry, I lost my train of thought explaining. I'm not very used to this debating stuff, but would you say that Eastern Europeans, I'm using this because this is the example that I'm familiar with, Eastern Europeans sort of never had like, except for Russia, but I'm not Russian, they've never had like the opportunity or the ability, I'd say pretty thankfully, to colonize or participate in sort of that sort of like, or at least historically, as far as I know, in that system that causes that oppression. Because because in like I said, in my example, my country didn't exist for like a good solid 200 years. And that was and in the time that we didn't exist, the colonization stuff happened and stuff, and because we didn't exist, we didn't really have a hand in that. So do you still think that Eastern Europeans had like some still like participate in this oppression, or do you think of black people, or do you think that they have like not like special exclusion, but do you think they would be less inherently racist per se than maybe like a white American or a white British person?
Hell no. So Polish people, like the stuff that you just expressed, like brought up right now when it comes to like Slavic, you said like anti-Slavic stereotypes, which I would never deny exist. That's ethnic marginalization and not racial marginalization, right? Because Polish people were never excluded from whiteness permanently due to these anti-Slavic stereotypes, and their differences that they had with, like, let's say Anglo-Saxons was framed as like something that could be assimilated, right? Which is precisely why over time Polish immigrants, whether it is in the US or Western Europe, did become unambiguously white, right? Whereas when it comes to black people are permanently racialized, indigenous people are colonized, Sinti and Romani people are also racialized as not white in Europe, and Polish people benefit off of racism. Polish people still benefit off of anti-black policing patterns. They benefit off of racialized assumptions of criminality towards black people. They are read as safe. They're read as normal. They're read as neutral because they just appear as white, right? So even a poor Polish person is less likely to be perceived as dangerous than a black or brown person of that same class, and is then less likely to be subjected to police brutality, for example. Yes, Polish people can be exploited for labor because of xenophobia, so you can get stigmatized because of your ethnic or national background, but you are never outside the racial boundary of white. You are not treated as a permanent racial underclass, and your children are also expected to integrate and be accepted, right? Whereas a black person will never, ever, ever be accepted. They will never be like in any way be removed from that dehumanization or permanent racial underclass, and that's a difference.
I see. Thank you for explaining your point there. I have another question that I'd like to ask. It's a bit of a bloated question, mind you, but I still would like to hear your take on it, if that's okay. Do you think that a sort of like multicultural society where like all races are able to live, equally is possible whatsoever, or do you think that's impossible, like absolutely impossible?
Simply living in a multicultural society is not my issue. My issue is the systems in place that produce these inequities and also disparities. So you could live in a multicultural society and still experience this disparities because the system behind it is still racist, right? So that's the issue that I have. The issue that I have is a majority of white people are very, very much okay with their privilege being subsidized by Black death. And that's an uncomfortable truth, but it is the truth. They're perfectly fine with being indifferent, with just ignoring the situation, with not educating themselves, with not being actively anti-racist, because they're perfectly fine with the system that they live in, where their comforts are subsidized by the death of everybody else who isn't white, or the exploitation of everybody else who isn't white. That is what I want to address. I don't necessarily, like, I'm not sitting here advocating for segregation or whatever it is, right? I'm specifically talking about white.
Trying to think if I have any other things I would like to ask about. This is something I was wondering, because while I was waiting to appear on guest, I saw people saying, and I wanted to ask you. So, do you think, like, if white people are born racist or inherently racist, which would imply born, would that mean that if you look at like a I don't know, like a white baby or white toddler, it's someone who's developing and hasn't exploded the mind, would you consider them racist despite them not being fully developed mentally?
So when I'm saying inherently racist, I mean it's a habit. It's deeply embedded. I'm not talking about biology. Okay, because I don't think race is not biological. It's a social construct. We're talking about the positioning of people and how that affects and impacts their lives depending on what category they're classified as. And white newborns have a higher likelihood and a higher chance of living than Black newborns. I don't know if you knew that, Dallas, but black newborns are 3 times more likely to die during childbirth than white newborns. And then that mortality rate decreases by 39 to 52% if a black doctor takes over.
May I ask, is this in like a specific country, like, or worldwide, or is this within, like, if it's worldwide, is it because of like?
So when we're talking about the mortality rate, like this is studies in the US, but also in the UK.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So even in the UK, Black British, which by the way, the UK Parliament has already addressed this, the issue with systemic racism within the NHS. But even within the UK, Black British women are up to 5 times more likely to die during childbirth, and that harm is also caused to their children.
Okay, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't sure whether you were referring to like globally, because I was thinking if it's globally, then it could just be factored in that, like, in African countries, maybe the healthcare isn't as good as, the Western countries.
But why isn't the healthcare as good in African countries?
I'd say because it's due to a lack of development, unfortunately.
But why is the lack of development there?
I would say it's perhaps exploitation of resources, or it could be a fact that
exploitation and destabilization. So again, it goes back to European colonialism. It goes back to the fact that European colonialism has not only created race, which contributed to racism and the stigmatization of black skin on a global scale, but also at the same time created these systems where black people cannot even feel safe on the African continent. We're even in the African continent where we have a majority of the resources, a majority of like the lands are owned by these Western or these Asian multinational corporations, and African people don't even have full control over their own lands. So yes, even there it has to do with the apartheid system that we are living in currently that was created by European colonialism.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on the concept of I think it's called Pan-Africanism, or like, I think that's what it's called. Mm-hmm. Like, would you say that that's a good thing to move forward in? Because I personally think that this might be a bit of a rare take for some people, because just for context, I am right leaning, but I'm not like super duper right. But I think that that sort of I think Western companies or sort of Western influence should leave Africa. I think there's nothing of like nothing of value there, but like I think it's
potentially function, but it can't function with every African country. Unfortunately, there are some African countries that are anchor states of the West that are operating on behalf of the West. Pan-Africanism couldn't function with them. But Pan-African necessary as well.
Mm-hmm. I see. Thank you for elaborating on that there. I'm trying to think. I can't think of any more points right now, but I think, it was very delightful. It was very insightful and, very respectful conversation we had there, and I wish you a good rest of your day.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I hope you have a good day too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hold on. I'm racist towards everyone, so you're right. I love how the people in the chat are just proving my point. Isn't that funny? Oh, Lord. Okay, so before I go on to the next guest, please get the live likes up to 60K. Okay? Sarah, no, literally. Get the likes up to 60K, by the way. While we're at it, I just wanted to say I have been live for a while now. The reason as to why I go live is not to have fun or not to just hang out. I go live for a specific reason, which number one is to kind of push for more educational content. Number two, to raise awareness about my country. And number three, to raise awareness about causes that I deeply care about. And so please, if you do like more, especially about the global south, then do like this live, share it, and also follow me if you want more content. Subscribe to me as well. You can get more content there. And if you want to put your money where your mouth is, okay? Exactly. Join the Discord. Exactly, Glohan Queen. But if you want to put your money where your mouth is, there are so many good initiatives in my link tree, in my bio, that you could help. One of the initiatives that I want to highlight is number one, Focus Congo. That's an initiative that is run by Congolese people. I've actively run multiple fundraisers with them. And they do so much amazing work on the ground in Congo. Another initiative that I would like to highlight is an initiative called Darfur IDP. Okay, this is an initiative that is run by Sudanese people from the Darfur region who were in IDP camps, internally displaced camps. And they also actively help Sudanese people just across the board. Okay, so if you want to help people in Sudan or Congo, you got a lot of initiatives in the link tree in my bio to be helping people in those countries. Another initiative that I want to highlight is the initiative that helps Eritrean refugees. Eritrean refugees currently are starving in Ethiopia in a place called Dabbat or Alamwaj refugee camp. And there's a lot of aid that is being blockaded and they're also being attacked, right, on a regular basis. So there is a video that I posted that literally shows some of those refugees actively picking up grains from the ground, dusty grains from the ground, okay? So the situation is very desperate. If you want to help them, that initiative is also in the link tree in my bio. If you cannot donate, I understand. What you could do to help is you could share the link trees everywhere. Okay? Share it in your Discord servers, share it in your friend groups, share it everywhere. Anyways, let's go to the next person. Okay. Thank you, Jared. Let's go to the next person. Why am I getting all of these like little incels in my chat? Was it like shared into like a little Discord server or something like that? By the way, Glohan, let me make you mod. Hold on. Was it shared like in like a Discord server or something like that? Crazy. Why do I have so many incels? I have an incels raid. No, for real. So many. Okay, let's go to this person. Hi, Destiny. Ew, not that Destiny. I'm talking about this Destiny in my chat.
Hello?
Hello, Evan. You disagree with the topic?
Yeah, how can you be inherently racist just because you're whitey?
Well, do you know what I mean by inherent in this case?
Yeah, I do.
What does it mean?
You mean that even without, like, on purpose, you are being... You are being racist without doing it on purpose.
Do you know where whiteness emerged from?
From having less pigmentation in your skin. What's so wrong about that?
Are you saying that race is biological?
Race is biological, yeah, it's to do with the pigmentation in your skin.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No,
all right,
race
so
is not biological.
Okay, so race isn't biological. Right, so what is it then? Can you explain to me what it is?
It's a social construct that was created by Europeans in the 1400s to justify slavery and colonization. This is something, by the way, that scientists within science is that race isn't biological. There was a human genome project that was done back in 2003. Okay, back then.
Yeah, but
They found, one second, they found that all humans share 99.9% of the same DNA, and that there is more genetic variation within any so-called race than between races. And those human traits that you're talking about were traits that varied gradually across geography and not discrete racial blocks, right? So if race were genetic, or if race was biological, you would have seen clear genetic boundaries, you would have seen consistent trait clusters, you would have seen stable categories across cultures, when that is not the case.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is though, because if you go to Europe, the majority of the population of Europe is whitey. If you go to the Middle East, the majority.
Are you telling me that a British person and let's say a Turkish person are genetically the same?
No, obviously I'm not. I'm saying genetically they are slightly different because
then it's not genetic. So it's not genetic then. Are you telling me that an East African person and let's say a West African person are the same genetically?
No.
Okay, but they're both categorized as black, right? Are you telling me that dark-skinned people in Africa and Melanesia, even though they're racially categorized as black, that they're the same?
No, obviously not, but they're still part of the same group as a Polish person and a British person would both be classed as white because they both are.
No, they're classed as white. You can see that by looking at them. No, they're not classed as white because of genetics. Okay. An Indian person and a Chinese person, do they look the same?
No, they come from different parts of Asia.
But they're both Asian, racially. They're the same racial category.
No, but they're not. You can't say that. Because that's the same as saying that me as a British person is the same as a Scandinavian person.
No, racially. I'm saying again, are they racially both Asian, yes or no?
They're both from the continent of Asia, yes.
No, are they racially both Asian, yes or no?
They are both from the continent of Asia, yes.
So they're both racially Asian?
Yeah.
Okay,
one's from North Asia and one's from South Asia.
Are they both genetically the same or similar?
No.
So how come? I thought race was genetic. How come these two people who are completely different from one another genetically and phenotypically still are categorized in the same category as Asian if race is genetic?
Well, I think your definition of race is slightly different to my definition of race.
No, I'm asking you again. Listen, even within the UK, South Asians are classified as Asian. East Asians are classified as Asian. Racially, they're both Asian, even within the UK. Okay? My question is, if you're saying that race is biological and wildly genetically different from one another, why would they be racially categorized in the same category?
Oh, sorry, my phone just gave me a notification. Because they come from two different parts of Asia. If you look at where the origins of those people.
Are you not tracking what I'm saying? You said
I'm tracking very well what you're saying, but saying that me.
You're not, Evan. You're not. You said.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Hold on. You said race has a genetic basis.
Yeah, because it does.
What is the genetic basis of Indians and Chinese people who are racially the same group? That's what you're not tracking. If race is genetic, hold on. If race is genetic, then how come both of these two different groups of people are in the same race?
It's just the same as Europeans, okay? We're all called Europeans because we are from the continent of Europe, but genetically we are all different.
But your race is not European. Your race is white. And Asian is a race. I'm not talking about the continent. Okay? There is no such thing as the American race, the South American race, the African race. There's no such thing as that. There are races. Asian, black, white, Pacific Islander, indigenous, those are races. And if
you look at where the origins of those people come from.
So then they're not then race doesn't have genetic basis. That's what you're arguing.
Well, it does because it determines the pigment in your skin.
Basis, hold on one second. Again, for the love of God, you're not tracking the argument.
No, I know
If
full
it
well
does
what your
have,
argument
if
is.
it, are you saying that that Chinese people and Indians are genetically the same?
No, obviously not.
Then how are they not genetically the same, but they're still in the same racial category? What is a genetic basis that is putting them in the racial
I
category?
don't see what the issue is, though, because we determine it by continents to make it easier than having
You don't determine it by continents because European is
hundreds.
not a race. European is not a race. Melanesian is not in Africa, yet they're still racially categorized as black. So it's not dependent on continent again.
It is, though.
Melanesians are literally in the
I would say
Pacific Islands.
to somebody that I'm European.
Is European a race?
Yeah, I would say it is.
Oh my God.
European is a race of people because we all come from the same continent.
So today, saying you're European is a race.
If it was up to me, then yeah, that's how I would choose it to be.
Sami people are European from Scandinavian countries, but they're not white. What do you do about that?
That doesn't matter because we're basing it off a continental scale as we are
But
in
they're
Asia,
in Europe.
with South
But they're in
and
Europe.
North
But
and
their race is
Asians.
not white. Hold on. Their race is not white, though. They're indigenous. Sami people are indigenous people who are in Scandinavian countries. Inuit people are indigenous people who are in Greenland that belongs to Denmark. Are you telling me that you, Mr. White Man Evan, are the same race as an Inuit person?
No, but they make up a minority, so that's
Regardless of if they
different.
make up a minority
No, but
or
they
not.
do.
That's
You've got to
not, that's
think
not what your
about it as the
argument.
whole of
Again,
the population. Otherwise, you could easily say that Europe is a black continent or a South Asian or a North Asian continent because we have people that originated from there that came here. You
okay,
cannot
then
base
white
it
South
off
Africans
a
are black,
minority.
but hold on. The white South Africans are black by your description. Because white South Africans.
No, because there is some South Africans who are black, and there is some that
they're a
are white.
minority. They're a minority. You just said they're a minority. It doesn't matter, right? You just said if they're a minority, then they still belong under the racial category of the whole continent. Then white South Africans who are in Africa, who according to you is a race, are black. They're not white.
The part of the South African race, yeah.
You think South African is a race?
Well, I believe that the white people there come from Europe, so
No,
the DNA,
again,
they're part of the European race.
Do you think South African is a race?
No, I don't.
Then what is a race? Please tell me, what is a race?
A race is where a group of people originate from.
And
where
what's
they
your
come
ethnicity
from.
then?
My ethnicity.
No, what is ethnicity then? If race is where your people originate from, what is ethnicity?
Well, all right. So, wait, no, sorry. Race. That's my bad. Forget the color of your skin. It's how much pigment you have in your skin. Not that there's anything wrong with different pigmentations or anything like that. But biologically, it is different, and that is part of race. Genetically, so it is different. It's different, and ethnically, because you can come from smaller areas in the same continent.
Okay, so according to your definition, right? According to your definition, this man and this man are the same skin color because they're both Asian. And if you're saying that race is dependent on skin color, then this man who's Chinese and this man who is Indian are both the same skin color. That's what you're saying.
Well, the part of the same race of people, yeah.
No, you just said skin color was a necessary condition for race. That's what you said. So I'm telling you, in this case, this Indian man and this Chinese man are both then the same skin color because they're both in the same race. They're both the same race, according to your logic. Do you see how nonsensical you sound?
Well, I mean, I could say the exact same about you by saying that all YT people are racist.
Again, Evan, do you see how nonsensical you sound when you're claiming that the necessary condition for race is skin color, but you have two people of the same race, Asian, who look vastly different from one another.
Yeah, but you could also say this, like, for example, a person from Scotland will have a different skin tone to somebody from Greece.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're
but they're both
making my
still
point
white.
for
They're
me.
both still white, though. They're both still white, though.
You're making my point for me. Thank you. You
No,
just
I'm not, though,
debunked
because
your own
they're
point.
both still whitey, though.
No. But you just debunked your own point because
No, I
if
didn't,
you're
because they're both still
yes,
whitey.
you did.
Just
You
different
oh my
shades.
god. You're saying that skin color is a necessary condition. And I'm telling you that it's not. And you just proved my point. There can be a... Yes, you did. A Sicilian...
No, I didn't, though.
You just did. If skin
No, I didn't,
color
though.
is...
It's different variations within a race.
Are you telling me that Are you telling me that these are just different variations of the same color? Is that what you're trying to say? This person and this person are the same variations of different variation of the same color. That's what you're saying.
Yep.
Chat. How many people in the chat thinks that he has brain worms? Please. How many people in the chat think that he has brain worms? Because he is literally saying here, literally full chest, that this Chinese man and this Indian man are the same skin color, just different skin tones. That's what you're ultimately saying. They're the same skin color, just different skin tones.
Yep.
Did you just say yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not doing that. Oh my god. Evan literally shares one singular brain cells with all of his incel friends. I'm so sorry. Oh Lord. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go to the next guest. Oh my god, you guys got it over 50K. That's amazing. Where's the Discord? The Discord is in the link tree in my bio. If you guys want to join the community, we are over 1,500 people, or 300 people, I think, who are amazing people. If you want to join that community, educational community with sources and all that stuff, then the link is in the link tree in my bio, by the way. So... Hello, Jace. Do you hear me? Hello, Jace.
Hi.
Do you disagree with the topic?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Santana. Thank you for the gift. Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you explain how somebody is inherently racist if they're that?
If they're white, you mean?
Yeah. I don't know. 'Cause you technically kind of censored it a little bit saying YT, so I didn't know.
Yeah. So the reason as to why I censored it is because sometimes TikTok tends to ban lives. They tend to ban lives that have white written in them because people report it. So that's why I censored it on my background. But yeah.
Okay, so we can't say the actual word in just conversation.
Oh, I've been saying it the whole time though, to be fair. But
okay.
Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about whiteness being inherently racist, I'm not talking about it from a biological perspective because I don't believe it's a fact. Race is not biological, but I'm talking about it from a structural, historic, and sociological perspective as well, right? So the reasons as to why I say that whiteness is or white people are inherently racist is number one, that white people basically benefit from the oppression of non-white people, hence why they have privileges and power within society. Number two, they are born into a system that centers them, that caters to them, that views them as a default. By the way, I'm echoing. I don't know why I'm echoing.
Let me turn my volume on. Hang on.
Mm-hmm. And number three, they're also conditioned to internalize a lot of racialized stereotypes and implicit biases that they have towards other groups of people who are marginalized and not white.
So we're talking like current age, not in general.
What do you mean? Current age and not in general?
Like with the way society is right now, and not like, oh hey, if you're born, you're automatically racist.
Well, I mean, do you think whiteness is biological? Do you think race is biological?
Like how in the same way, like with, like you got biological men, you got trans men, like that type of deal?
No, I'm saying, do you think there's any genetic or biological basis to race?
I'm not exactly sure.
No, race is not biological. Do you have any idea when race emerged?
Sometime early during humanity. That's my best guess, because
that's not true. So race emerged in like the 1400s. By the way, how old are you?
18.
Okay, 18. So race emerged during the 1400s. Do you know what happened in the 1400s?
No.
Okay, the European Age of Expansion. So basically, the Portuguese decided to want to justify the expansion of their empire. Specifically, it was Prince Henry, who then commissioned a man by the name of Gomez de Zurara, who then wrote a book. I'm echoing like really bad. Are you recording this?
No, I'm not recording.
Okay.
Let me mute my mic.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. But I was gonna say that because I don't consent to be recorded. But anyways, I was gonna say that the reason as to why it was created was to justify enslaving people and to justify the expansion of Portugal, the Portuguese Empire. So basically, from its inception, it has always been about domination and exploitation, and it has never just been about existing. Did you know that?
To fact check that actually, because I know, like, I'm not saying you're lying or anything, but like, I prefer to do a lot of research for myself.
Mm-hmm. So are you wanting a source from me?
Sure. Also, the reason there's probably echo is because my TikTok is so laggy right now for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
I do believe that white people do exploit other races, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about only necessarily like individual exploitation. I'm talking about hold on.
I actually am somebody who grew up with a partially racist family, so yeah.
Who are you talking to? Like me?
Huh?
You're talking to me? Me?
Yeah, I grew up with a racist family.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Sorry, that comment, how can somebody be partially racist? Like,
You don't have
okay.
to address the comments. Like you can only address like the panel. I don't address the comments when I'm talking to a person, by the way. Because you didn't come up here to address the comments. You came up here to talk to me.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just that actually it made a little sense to me because I didn't word that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
So here it is. So this is a BESCO knowledge. It's an academic source. Hold on.
I'm not seeing it.
There we go. Really good source, by the way, academic source if you want to educate yourself on things. It says here, racism as a social phenomenon emerged prominently during the late 15th and early 16th centuries, coinciding with European exploration and the resulting encounters with diverse indigenous populations. This period saw the invention of racial hierarchies that served to justify the exploitation and dehumanization of these groups, particularly through the lens of the Atlantic slave trade. The concept of race itself is relatively new, evolving from earlier geographic identifiers to classifications based on skin color and physical traits, a shift that gained traction in the 17th century. So, yeah. Right? So, I highly recommend as well. If you want to read up on this more, you said you like to do research. There's an amazing book called Stamped from the Beginning that does delve into the details of how racism and race were invented and these racial hierarchies were also invented. And it's called Stamped from the Beginning by Dr. Ibrahim X. Kendi. And I think that if you actually want to educate yourself on race, on racism, and how it functions, the racial hierarchies as well, then I would suggest that is a perfect, that would be a perfect start to read that book to better understand it.
Actually, I just did a quick search, and on what you just said, that is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The name of the book is, hold on, I'll show it to you guys. I have it here.
So, is that Charlie Kirk on the
this
prompt?
Book. So this is the name of the book. It's called Stamped from the Beginning, by Ibrahim X. Kendi. I think this is a really good book. It's really great. It really helps you understand, it really helps you understand how race was invented, and not only in America, but also from the Western European perspective, why race was created, for what purpose. It's a really good book. Okay, so it's called. There's also exactly on Netflix. I think there's a whole documentary on this called "Stamped from the Beginning." The second book that's really good is this one, Walter Rodney's "How Europe Underdeveloped Africa." This book is also incredibly important book. As you can see, I've highlighted some of the shit, but yeah, this is an incredibly important book as well. And if you read these two books, you have a beginning, a foundation, basically, for the subject. They're both academic sources, by the way. They're renowned. Walter Rodney actually got assassinated for it, by the way. So he couldn't even see his book get published because he got assassinated. So, yeah. Continue what you wanted to say, though.
So I still don't really understand how like somebody being white makes them inherently racist because as somebody who grew up with racist family, from self-education and like actually doing research, I'm like, okay, I don't like this concept. I don't really care what skin color anybody is. Like, they're human beings.
But that's not how racism works, though, right? Racism doesn't care about your intention. Can you stop being white, for example? Is that a choice that you can make?
No.
Okay, and so you cannot inhabit whiteness without participating in systemic racism, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, right? So, for example, because you were white, like white newborns, for example, have a higher likelihood at life. There were studies that were done that showed that black newborns are 3 times more likely to die during childbirth than white newborns, and that this mortality rate decreases when a black doctor takes over. So by that very fact, white newborns don't even have to know their name in order to benefit off of white privilege, because they have a higher likelihood or a higher chance at life. Same thing with white women. White women have a higher likelihood of life when they're giving birth, because black women are up to 5 times more likely to die during childbirth than white women. Right?
I believe that, but that would more be on the fault of the doctors being like racist or something than it would be the child.
No, but so it's not about a fault. I'm not talking about the blame game, right? When I'm talking about racism, I'm not sitting here to blame people. What I'm talking about is that white people have been implicated into a system that works on their behalf and benefits them at the expense of everybody else, right? Who is not white. That's the whole point of it. Right? So I'm not sitting here saying white people need to feel guilty, you need to feel shame. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you live within a society where basically you're by virtue of you existing within that society, other people are being caused harm. Because that society is built to uphold your whiteness.
Okay, so you're saying because I'm white that since, like, whether I choose or not, I'm still going to benefit because of the way society is.
Yes. Whether consciously or subconsciously, you are growing up in societies that are structured to normalize your advantage. When you go to school, the curriculum is mostly history and culture through a white lens. When you look at the media presents white experiences as the default, as the norm. When you go to policing or the judicial system, law and policing protects white lives over black and brown lives, right? And over time, these norms, these habits, these worldviews are infused with these racial assumptions unconsciously. When you are a white child and you see a black child being more likely to be reprimanded, what kind of assumption does that give you? Gives you the assumption that black kids are bad, that they're being criminalized because they're bad. Right?
I think the people doing that are bad. Like,
no, but the thing is, it's not about who's bad and good. It's about harm that's being done. It's about harm that's being done. Right? I'm not talking about intentions. I'm not talking about white people being evil. I'm not saying white people hate people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that society is designed around your whiteness, to center your whiteness. And that society, because it centers your whiteness, it is directly causing harm to anybody who is not categorized as white.
I do see what you're saying. What exactly is the goal of these conversations, though?
The goal of these conversations is to first of all, my number one priority is to educate Black people on the systems that we live in. Because unfortunately, a lot of the time, Black people grow up in these systems. Wait, can you hold on? I'm gonna mute you because it's
okay. I can mute myself.
Yeah. So unfortunately, a lot of Black people grow up within a society where they're taught that there's something wrong with them. That they're taught that there's something wrong with them, that they are being punished for being bad or not good enough or not assimilating or not integrating. And it's always made to seem and framed as if it's the Black person's issue. Your culture is bad, your music is bad, you're not complying, you're not doing good, all these different things, right? And my purpose is number one, to basically educate Black people first and foremost. And if there are white people who are listening in on this conversation, then that's also a good thing. If that encourages them to actively then be anti-racist within their society, that's also a good thing.
Yeah, I get what you're at.
But
it is unfortunate though.
It's not unfortunate. This is the issue that I have. It's not unfortunate. It's a decision that's being made. It's an active decision. It's not something that is just a natural progression of society. It's not unfortunate. It is an active decision that is being made to uphold this society, to then deem certain lives not valuable. That is an active choice that is being made. And even indifference is an active choice, by the way. When a person chooses to be indifferent to oppression, that is also an active choice.
That was the wrong wording, my bad. More like I'm disappointed in society's decisions.
Yeah.
Is what I mean.
But Jace, I'm gonna go to the next guest, but I'm gonna drop you. And if you want to learn more, of course you can definitely follow me and you could kind of write everything down. And then after that, you can research it as well afterwards, right? I mean, I highly recommend people to actively fact check everything that I say and do their own research as well. But if you want to continue being educated on this, you can definitely just follow me and then continue listening to my lives.
I'm like, I definitely get what you're at, and I'm not like extremely uneducated. It's just that I don't know like every single fact in detail.
Well, I hope you have a nice day, Jace.
You too.
Okay. Should I do one more person? I'll do one more person. Okay, I'll do one more person. How many people in the chat learn from my lives, by the way? Or have learned shit from my lives? Also, by the way, can I just say, when I'm doing these lives, I am most definitely not centering white people. Okay? Most definitely not. The number one people that I center are Black people and then marginalized communities. So, like Indigenous people and brown people and all that stuff. And then white people. Okay? Because unfortunately, a lot of times, there are a lot of Black people out there who are going around understanding knowing what's happening to them, but not understanding the mechanisms and the systems behind that, and not also being able to put words to it. Because a lot of times, a lot of people don't know what word to put to it. They don't know how the system functions, right? So that's how I was, you know? I knew that there were some things happening to me. I just did not know why they were happening to me. I thought that they were my fault. All those different things, right? So that's precisely why I always like to center like Black people and of course like Indigenous and brown people because they do talk about other issues, right? And then white people, I mean, you're welcome, definitely. I'm not gonna say like you're not included in this space. If you want to listen to the conversation and talk about it, you're definitely welcome as well, right? So, yeah, that's the whole point of it. And there are a lot of white people who come to my lives, to be fair. There are a lot of white people who come to my lives, who listen, who, you guys know when I realized that these lives could make a change? It was 1 year into me hosting them. So it was like, I think 2023 or 2022, I think, or 2023, when a random person came up to my live, okay? It was a white woman. And she literally told me that she didn't even know about the maternal mortality rate of Black women, okay? And she didn't know much about medical racism, but she knew about it more when she was listening to my lives and did much more research about it. And because of that, she decided to open up an organization that specifically helps Black mothers and Black women who are going through childbirth, like a doula, like a midwife organization that literally sends basically people and experts with the mothers when they're giving birth. And then she said that she was able to help over 100 mothers. Imagine one single person, because they listen to the live sometimes, they created an organization and were able to help over 100 Black mothers. Okay? So, for that reason, I genuinely think that if every single person who is listening to these lives, if they actively did something within their own community, the world would be a much, much better place, legitimately. So, let me go to the next guest. Yeah, W to whoever that was. I don't know. I forgot her name, but yeah. Hello, Andrew.
Oh, hello.
Why did you disagree with the topic?
Yeah, I disagree. I don't think white people are inherently racist.
Wait, why do I know this voice?
I never joined this live.
You've never joined? You don't have another account?
No, this is my only account.
Okay. So do you know what do you understand under inherently?
I mean, it comes from inside. It comes from themselves. Like,
so biological?
Yeah.
No, that's not what I mean. So inherently doesn't only have to mean biological, it also can mean a habit. So yes, biological or is essential could be a part of the definition, but it's very important that when you're looking at the definition, it also says or, right? So it says existing in something as a permanent or essential or characteristic attribute. Or there's some dictionaries that say by habit. So I'm focusing on the habit or it being a characteristic attribute of whiteness. Not biological, because race is not biological.
Well,
I think you're talking about inherit, which means you inherit
see
something.
Differences in groups, no?
The differences in groups are not like you can see differences between African groups. You can see differences between East Africans and West Africans and South Africans, but it doesn't mean that they're all genetically the same thing, even though they're all categorized as Black.
Yeah, but if you remove the categories and isolate on the population, so you look at like specific populations, you can see differences that are like quite large, right? Between, let's say...
nobody denies that the differences, which are surface level, by the way, the differences you're talking about, we're not different species. We're still humans at the end of the day. And those differences you're talking about, skin color, eye color, hair texture, those are very, very surface level differences that are controlled by like a minuscule amount of genes. Because there was a human genome project that was done in 2003 where they found out that humans shared 99.9% of the DNA, right? And the general consensus within science as well is that race is not biological, by the way, right? So the environmental differences that you're talking about that develop over time based on like your environment that you live in is not your race, though.
Yeah, but even those like small characteristics that are different, right? I mean, you see them playing out in society. I mean, different societies.
No, wait, nobody's arguing that there aren't differences. I'm saying that that's not race, though, because a black person from East Africa could be genetically wildly different than a black person from West Africa, but they're both categorized as black, even though there's so basically.
Yeah, but can I, if I move down the, let's say I remove that category and now I categorize them as different races between themselves, I can do that also, right?
But you don't categorize them based on different races. The society we live in today categorizes them as the same race because race is not biological.
Yeah,
do you know when race emerged?
I'm saying if you use this definition, you can see that they're different races because you look at the genome, right?
They're not, there's nothing, like, again, there's nothing genetic about race. Do you know when race emerged?
But you literally said that they're genetically different.
No, yeah, they're genetically different, which means based on environment and not based on race, because race is not scientific.
Yeah, but even if it's based on environment, that's just the cause. I'm saying that at this point in time, you can differentiate those two groups.
But you can't. They're both racially categorized as black. There's no such thing as the East African race and the West African race. They're both categorized as black. But if you look at the genome,
like you said, you can differentiate them. So we can just categorize them as different races.
Yes, they are different, which is why race is not genetic. Because if race were genetic, these two groups of people would have been categorized in two different races. But it's not genetic. That's why they're categorized in the same race, even though they're genetically diverse from one another. If race was actually genetic, these two groups of people would have two different races, but they don't. They are in one single race because race is not genetic. It's social. It's a social construct.
Okay,
it's a social construct that emerged during, excuse me?
You're also racist then. You could be racist also.
No, I can't.
Why not? Because we're all the same, right? There's no race.
No, we're not all the same.
Well, you just said there's no race, so we're all the same. And
yes,
now
yes.
Exactly.
There is no race, but racism. No, hold on. But racism exists. Racism is an issue. That's the difference. Race is not real. Racism is, and unfortunately, racism as a system is built in and rooted in that bullshit concept that is race.
Well, I don't think racism is really that like big of a deal because, I mean, a lot of people in history, there's always been fighting and infighting and all this stuff. I mean,
it's not about infighting though. It's global racism I'm talking about. The fact that black people are dying on a global basis. People are being genocided because of racist systems. I don't know why you're thinking sort of good. This is why I'm saying you have privilege because you're white. You live in a society where you are categorized as white. To you can say racism is not a big deal. To black people, though, to indigenous people, though, to brown people, though, racism is leading to their genocide.
Yeah, but they're also genociding between themselves. I mean, I know an example of...
genociding between themselves?
Yeah, because there's people in, let's say, Somaliland who think that our people in Somalia are different, and then they fight.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, this is just historical fact.
Somalis are the worst example that you could have picked because Somalis belong to one ethnicity. There are people who have one language, one ethnicity, one people. The difference that exists there is political.
No. I know people who are racist against Somali. So there's a guy who, if you're
Somali is not a race.
Against Somaliland.
Somali is not a race. Somali is not a race. Somali is not a race. It's an ethnicity and a national identity. It's not a race.
No, they think that the other ones are not as good as them.
That's not what racism is, though.
Yeah, but it's a system. It's a, like you said, it's not
a system. What system of oppression? Tell me what system of oppression exists where Somalis are oppressing other Somalis. In what system?
They're literally fighting themselves, and I don't know who's winning right now, but.
So, wait, what?
Yeah, so they're like infighting between themselves, and I'm saying that
infighting is not racism, though.
No, I'm saying infighting by my definition, but they're fighting between themselves.
What is racism? Define racism for me.
God. I don't know, racism. It's when you think that one race is superior and you oppress others. I don't know. Yeah.
No, that's not what racism is. What is racism?
It's a social construct.
No, that's race, not racism. Racism is not a social construct. Race is a social construct. What is racism?
I don't know, racism, it's when you, I don't know, you say that somebody else is different, so then they're worse, and then you inflict harm upon them or some, I don't know, just tell me your definition.
Racism is a system of power and social practice that produce and reproduce a racial hierarchy that assigns value, opportunity, credibility, and risk unevenly across different races. So, a white person being less likely to be subjected to police brutality, having a higher likelihood of living, within a stable country that is built again on the backs of other people. That is what racism is. People simply fighting one another is not racism. If that were the case, I would say Europeans are some of the most racist people to one another, because Europeans have a history of killing one another. We have World War I, which was white tribalism, where a bunch of European people killed one another. World War II, a bunch of European people killed one another. The 100 Years' War, Napoleon Bonaparte. I can go on and on and on and explain the barbaric history of Europeans killing one another, but I wouldn't label that as racism.
Yeah, but in Africa, they eat people. I mean, I saw videos of people eating other people.
And Europeans eat people too.
Who?
Medicinal cannibalism was a thing.
Yeah, but you're just
Medicinal
brutal.
cannibalism was a thing. Do you know
people for
why there are
brutality.
less mummies today? Do you know why there are less mummies today?
Yeah, the thing where they tested it out. Yeah, I mean, they tested it out. They
who
didn't
ate
eat the
them?
whole
Who ate
thing.
them? Not testing.
It's
Somebody
called
ate
testing.
them.
It's called experimentation. Science.
Nope. They didn't experiment on them. They ate them. During the Victorian period, a lot of British people actually ate and consumed mummies. They had soirees where they were consuming mummies. That's not true. They
Yeah, but
ate
in
them.
Africa, they're literally eating themselves.
What does it have to do with anything? I'm confused. Do you want me to go down the list of European cannibals?
I mean, I can go
Are we
down.
pretending as if European cannibals don't exist? Are we pretending as if cannibalism didn't happen? I'm pretty sure I read a report on like Ukraine or something where they had like one Chechnyan dude who like consumed a Ukrainian dude. I can go down that route. I can go.
White.
They're white. Chechens are white.
They're not white.
They're white.
Chechens are white. They're Turkic.
White. Yes, 100%. They're white. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. They're not white.
They're white. Yes.
They're white.
Yes, they are 100% white. They're categorized and live in life as a white person.
Chechens.
What are they? Are they Asian? Are they black?
They're Turkic.
Turkish doesn't have to mean Asian.
Turkic. They're not.
Turkic doesn't have to mean Asian.
They look Asian, so they are Asian. If somebody looks white, then they are white. I mean, this is literally your definition.
That's not my definition. That's your fucked up definition because
So
you
then
don't know what you're talking about.
they're white, right? So they experience white privilege when they go to America, let's say. They get a better job because they're Chechen and they're white?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Eastern Europeans actually do, yes.
They're not. Chechens don't look Eastern. They don't look Eastern European.
Where are you from?
I'm from Romania.
Hold on. So, for example, hold on. Chat, I want to ask you guys one question, okay? Chat! Is this man a white man? Oh, hold on. Yeah, is this man a white man? Yo? Chat, is this man a white man? If you see this person, would you think he's a white man? Yeah, he's Chechnyan.
Well, you have to see his ethnicity. If he could be
He's
Russian.
Chechen. He's Chechen.
Yeah, I know he's the president of
He is currently, he's currently the head of the Chechen Republic, and his father was literally a part of the Chechen independence movement. Yeah, his father was literally a part of the Chechen movement, the Chechen independence movement. Isn't that crazy? Do you want me to go on?
No, they're mixed. That's why this guy, if you check his DNA, he's mixed.
Race is not about DNA. You just said the Chechens. Again, race is not about DNA. You just said Chechens are not white. Should I go down and bring up other Chechens?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're so dumb, you know that? Why do people like you who are dumb like want to have engage in a conversation they have no idea about? Sure. This man. If y'all saw this man in the street, would you think he was white, y'all?
He looks Georgian. He's not white.
He's Chechnyan. He's white. Georgians are also white, by the way. I don't know what you're talking about.
Who? No.
Does this man look white to y'all if you saw him in the street? Pretty sure, right?
So Indians are black because by their skin color, right?
It's not about skin color. That's what I'm telling you. Race is not about skin color. You don't even understand what
you literally
race
said this. He looks white because his skin is white. Doesn't look white.
He would appear as white in society.
In the U.S.,
it's not about DNA. Not
place,
in the U.S. In Western Europe too. Yes.
No.
In Western. If this guy was in Western Europe again, he would not be categorized as Asian.
Yeah, but you could see he's not a local, at least. I mean, but
I didn't say you can see. I didn't say again. I did not say he wouldn't experience xenophobia.
Oh my God.
Because I come from Western Europe. You know that, right?
Where are you from?
Germany.
Germany. Are you black or?
But this man would experience xenophobia in Germany. Yes, but he would still be categorized as a white person. He would still be white. Even though he experiences xenophobia as a person who's Eastern European, like a Chechnyan, he would still be perceived as white, though. Y'all, you think does this person look fucking Asian to you?
No, but...
Does this person look Asian to you?
They look Turkic.
So this person does not look white. If this person was living in society, they would not be perceived as a white person. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, come on, you're in Germany, you know this.
Okay, I'm done, y'all. This is too much. Yeah. So this person would experience xenophobia because they're Eastern European, because Western Europeans are xenophobic towards Eastern Europeans, but them being xenophobic does not mean that they would not be seen as a white person. Right? Like this woman, literally, she would live life as a white person. So I don't know why he sat there pretending as if, that's not the case. These people, you think this woman looks Asian? This is another woman who's a Chechnyan, by the way. You're telling me that this woman, that she would live life as an Asian woman and not a white woman? Come on. Chill. Please. I don't know why this guy had to lie, by the way. It's very interesting. What about this person? Anyways, I don't know why people are like really disingenuous, by the way. I'm gonna end the live now. I've been live for 2 hours and a half. I appreciate y'all so much. I love y'all so much. I am definitely gonna go off now. Hannah, you're not a tough guy. Hannah's saying, oh yeah, get scared. Meanwhile, Hannah is not even in the requests. But anyways, I love y'all so much. And I'll see y'all tomorrow when I go live again. I'm going live every day. Hold on. Hannah, you're not even in the requests. What are you talking about? How are you going to tell me to bring... Okay, there we go. Hi. Hi, Pro Afro. They just dropped. I brought them up and they dropped. Hannah's a coward. No, there will be no music today. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Is gonna try to hook up with him. I didn't expect your reaction to be so hilarious, though.